Hello guys, here you are going to learn practical tutorial about JavaScript. Let's talk a little about JavaScript. JavaScript is a cross-platform object-oriented scripting language used to adding interactive behavior to web pages. It's his primary purpose. Creating web and mobile applications, building web servers and application, game development, if you didn't know. First, let's start to discuss about how to run JavaScript code. For example, if we write something like script.js and for example, to output hello world, you have to write console log and hello world. But how do we run this code? There is many ways. One of them is to run it on browser, which is the main way. In order to run it, we have to create index.html file, and it's like boilerplate for code. It's like exclamation mark and enter. Let's change this JavaScript to JavaScript, and to run it we have to write script, it's HTML tag, and source. Our source is this file script. Oh, actually I wrote it incorrectly. It's script. Yeah, right. And here we're going to add this our script.js file. To run this, we will run this with a live server, which is VS Code extension. If you will search for live server, and you have to install it, and then you will be able to run HTML or like HTML files continuously without saving and reloading it. Here we have, now it will be open. Yes, it's open. It is open. But we don't see any result. To see result, we have to go to inspect this website and go to console, and there we can see our result. There's like some kind of problem. Yes, here we see our result, and another way is to run it with Node.js. In order to run it with Node.js, you have to install it in Node.js official site. There is like download Node. On Windows you will be able to download Node. On other Linux you can just write sudo apt install Node.js, this version. I guess you will figure it out. And after installing it, you can write to terminal this command node script JS, and it will run our code as well. In this tutorial I will mostly focus on running these commands with Node.js. What do you think? Maybe you are wondering what this Node.js is. Node.js was found in Node.js was found in, I guess, 2010, like 2010 or 2009. Yes, It's open source platform backend JavaScript runtime environment that runs on V8 engine and executes JavaScript code outside the browser. JavaScript can only be compiled in browser, and there is like engines like V8 and SpiderMonkey for Firefox. They can run JavaScript code, but we can also run this with Node.js. It's a runtime environment which was built by who is his name? I guess it's his name is Ryan Dole. He wrote it, and from that time it is possible to run this in built in our operating system with his like runtime environment. It's like when you are installing JDK for Java, is it like similar to it, but not exactly, but similar. Let's go to introduction of JavaScript and its syntax. Let's talk about variables, which is a building block of every program. To create variable, we have to write reserved word var, which is for variable, and we will write our a, which will be equal to 10. For like more modern, like after ECMAScript 6, you can seal this syntax like let and const. This syntax was found because like War was not completely comfortable for creating applications, and that's why new keywords was introduced. Var is for creating any variable. That's also similar to var, and const is more like complicated, a little bit complicated. It's like constant, like final in Java, or it means that you can't change its value after you have initialized it. Console, let's check it. If we will be not able to run this command, you can see assignment to constant variable, which means you can't change constant variables. Const is for constants. Next, let's talk about the data types. There is two group of data types: primitives and reference types. Firstly, let's talk about primitives. It's numbers, which are like 10 and every other whole number, and float number as well. String. Strings which are declared with single quotes and double quotes as well. They are similar, no difference, unless you will want to like write single quote in double quote. It will, if only in that case. And Boolean, like false or true, like Boolean values, and undefined. If undefined, yes, which is like if you don't declare any variable, like if you will not declare a and console log it, a it will be undefined because you didn't define it. It's undefined. And our next type is null, which means like emptiness. There is nothing in null. It's nothing returned. Well, let's check it. Null in JavaScript. Yes. If you want to find out some useful informations about JavaScript, its best platform is developer Mozilla org, like MDN for short, Mozilla Developers Network. You can search here and find very useful information like this, and very like concise and understandable way. The value null represents the intention absence of any object value. As I said, it's like emptiness. It's one of JavaScript's primitive values and is treated as faulty for Boolean operations. Yes, and let's turn to. Oh, it's a cringe is going on here. Yes, and we said about. Oh, let's talk how to create comments. For comments, you can write like 2 slashes, and it will be comment. Primitive value types. And our second is reference types. Reference types. For primitives, they say that they are like immutable. You can change them after you have declared them, unless you declare them for new. Like if you declare it 10 for number, you will have to declare it whole new, like number and 15. You are changing whole data of number, like from 10 to 15. But reference types, you don't have to like equal. You can change inside value of reference types. For reference types, they are objects. Objects like new object. And there is also like how to say object literals. You can declare them as like here as well, like in this syntax, like name and object. It's as well true. And now some program is open. I will close it and return it fastly. Motion, don't make me crazy. And second reference types is arrays. It's also data structure to store values in like structured way. Like if you are, let's say that you are choosing a product in the market, and there is like bananas, oranges, and apples, and you can choose them. To choose like banana, you have to log it. To choose banana, you will write array, and you're seeing the syntax. It's for arrays, and to take one value of array, you have to write these brackets, the square brackets, here after our array, and it will give us this value. In arrays, as you know, as well as other languages, value starts with index 0. So the bananas, it will be index 0, and oranges will be index 1, apples will be index 2. Let's see it. As you see, we are getting bananas. This is how arrays work. And some say that functions also are reference types. Let's, for example, create one function. There is many ways to create functions, and one of the way is to with keyword function. It will be like square x. We will, at the result, we will get a square of x. Every function has to return something, and the syntax for returning is like just write return and x square. This syntax is for making squares, like two multiple keyword, multiple. Okay, that's it. To see the result of square, you have to console log it. If you will just write square and x, it will give us undefined. It's giving us error. Let's see what kind of error. X is not defined. Yes, it was silly of me to write just x. Let's just write not x, but 5. But it will give us undefined because we didn't log in it. Oh, bananas. Yes, our bananas. To comment any line, you will just write like I will show you, Control plus slash. You are just going to any line and clicking Control slash, and it will comment that line. We are not seeing anything because we are not logging it. Let's console log it. To log it to console log, and to take like it's like Control C, but you are just not doing like this, but you are just going here and clicking Control X to cut it and Control V. Oh, something strange happened. Control V. Yes, it's going with the semicolon. Let's console log it and we will see how functions work. It's 25. We are scoring 5 and we are getting 25. Good. Let's talk our next. We discussed variables, types of data types. Let's talk about conditions. If else. Let's delete everything. Don't be mighty if I will put music on the background. It's like boring, don't you think? Let's remove these tabs. Like it's not so, but like this. Great. Let's continue. Let's talk about conditions. For any condition, like we want to find if, like, let a be 10 and let b be 5, and we want to check if a is greater than b. But how can we do it? Is there any possible way? For these cases we are using if. if syntax if else, which is used to check conditions, and we are checking if a is greater than 5. And what we are doing next? We are console logging if a will be greater than 5, or I was meant to be, it was meant to be b. If a is greater than b, we are writing a is greater than b. Yes. And what else? What else? If it's not greater than b, what we are getting? For this case, we are writing else. In else, the else doesn't have these brackets, because we are saying if something didn't happen, then we are executing else. That means we don't need any bracket. And let's see, and let's write this b is b is greater than a. Yes, we got it. And let's continue. Let's check it. And if you wonder how I'm like doing this in crazy speed, I'm just clicking arrow up, up, down, left, right, and I'm just clicking up arrow, which will show me the previous commands I was writing, like code, I think. And you are just clicking arrow up, and it will show you the codes you were writing before. Throw arrow, it's throwing out error, like those I guess I compiled another file, not script.js, but something else. Let's check it. You see, a is greater than b, which it means a is greater than b. And I'm putting arrow up, and you are seeing this showing me the previous command I was writing. I wrote before. But what if a is equal to 10 and they are equal? What will be in that case? Let's check it. B is greater than a. Yes, it's showing us b is greater than a, even if it's there, even if b is not greater than a. For that case, there is one syntax where we will end else if, which means else if first if is not true, the second expression will be executed. Else if a is equal to b, it will show us. You see this double equal syntax? It's not assigning value like in here, but it is used to compare values. And let's console log a is like console they are equal, and let's check it. Yes, they are equal. Great. Now we are familiar with if-else condition statements. And next, let's talk about loops. Loops are very interesting topic. For myself, I love them. We can do any crazy things with loops. Let's see it. The syntax for loops. There is two ways to create loops. First one is using while, and second one is using for loop. let's check first while loop. For me it's like less interesting, but anyway, but some people think they're for loops and while loops are used in different cases. While is used when you don't know when your loop is going to stop. In that case, it's better to use while loop. If a is less than b, let's console log a and a plus plus. This syntax is a short way of writing like this. A is equal to a plus 1. A plus 1. It's a short syntax for writing it like this. Just plus plus. And another way to write like this also is like this. Plus equal. It will also do the same job. For now, let's write like this, and let's check it. Yes, we are getting numbers from 10 to 19, and because it's 19, because it's checking if a is less than 20, it will run this command. If a is not less than b, which is in case 20, it is not going to run this command. That's why it's stopping. Great, we discussed it about while loops. And second one is for loops. For loops, you have to. It's like a little bit complicated, but if you learn it, it will be very good. Let's check the same logic as previous. If a is less than b and I plus plus, and let's console log it. It's doing the same job. It's doing the same job. In here, we are creating new variable, which is I, and assigning a to I. It's getting its a, and it checks until a is not greater than b. For every iteration, it is incrementing value of I for like if a is 10, in next iteration it will be 11. When we are familiar with loops, I guess next it will be very useful to discuss functions. In JavaScript, there is many ways to create functions. First one, as we did before, it was function, keyword function, where we squared the number, square x. If you wonder what does this x mean, we call them parameters. Like if you do like this, x is declared, but its value is never read, and x is parameter, and value of x is any. We can assign any value to x. And every function return something. If it's not returning, it will be written like undefined. If let's check it. If it will just not return, just write console log. Console log x squared. Yes. square 5. Let's check it. Yes, it's giving us a 25. Let's check it. It had to show, or am I wrong? Yes, you see, undefined. Because we are not returning anything, that's why it's writing like undefined. If you write return x square, it will not get this error, this undefined. Let's show. Yes, you are not getting it. When you are creating functions, the best practice, or you can not return any value, but it's best to return something. They are meant to return something. And the second way to, not second, but another way to create functions with function keyword is creating like let's comment this out and we'll create new square. We are defining like a variable, and for the value we are writing function. Function and x. Was it like this? Let's check it. It's possible to forget something on the way. Let's see it. If it works or not. Console log square x. Yes, let's see it. Oh, it's giving us error. Very great. Very great. I guess we have to do like this or not. No. It's also a stupid mistake of mine where I write x which is not defined. It's interesting, yeah? It's great that we noticed it. I will explain you now. Second. Yes, we are getting, it means it's true syntax. When you see that x, I'm writing x, and when I wrote x here, it's saying that x is not defined because every function, every loop, every object has its own scope, which means if I will create like, you can't get value of local variables, and local variable means that if I will create here, let local be 10, and I am writing here console log local. I want to say what's the value of local, but I will not be able to get this value of local because it's local, which means it's local to function. You cannot see it's out of function. And when variables are assigned like this, let local be 10, it means that you are defining global variable, which means it's accessible for any function or any other it's accessible for everyone. But if you are defining it in inside of function, it means it's local. You cannot get it value of it. We will see now. We will get the value of this outer local. But you can. Let's actually do like this. If you are for more clarity, let's define another variable, local, like just L, and it will be 8. But you can get access local variable inside of function. No, let's just return L, and our function will be called return L. We can do like this because it's accessible for us. Return L. Yes, we can access outer variables. Oh, you see, here it's also interesting that I'm like showing you some more interesting ways. Let's remove this parameter, and if you are not writing these brackets, it means we are not running the function. You will see that it's just returning the value of return. What is it saying us? What is return? It's saying it's a function and it's called return L. And when you are writing brackets, it's running the function. Yes, we are getting the value of 8. It is called how to call function declaration, and it's called like expression declaration. Like, let's check it. Function declaration. Function declaration. Yes. And there is also a function declaration. No. Function declaration. And I am forgetting about was it what was called the second one? Expression declaration. Function declaration is a function. No. Anyway, I wanted to say that when you can't get access in here, like you can get access if you are like write console here. When you are writing console log square 5, it's not a problem. Let's comment this out. It's not a problem. You see, even if it's above, we are calling function above. When above, there is no any function. You don't know any function above console log, but you are getting the result because function declaration makes us possible to run command even if it's below the running expression. And but if you will try to run the expression declaration, if I'm right, you will get an error. Return now. You will get an error. Yes, because it doesn't see any return. Return L is not defined. You see, it doesn't see any return L above this expression. And by the way, if I'm calling this expression because any, like, if you can say any this line can be called like expression. Any action that you are doing can be called as expression. Returning to our topic, we cannot get access of expression declaration if if you're like, let's make it simple, if you're declaring like this, you cannot get access to it if from above, but you can get access if you are creating functions with function declaration. Square 5, you can, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. You see? Yes. And let's talk about how to create functions in JavaScript. I wanted to explain about what is ECMAScript that I'm talking about. ECMAScript. ECMAScript is a general purpose programming language standardized by ECMA International according to documentation, which means that JavaScript is like language which doesn't belong to anyone. If C# belongs to Microsoft and Java belongs to Oracle, JavaScript belongs to no one, and that's why it's if everyone will write his own JavaScript, it will be very complicated. Like everyone will write his own way. That's why ECMAScript was like found out to make the standard language for JavaScript. And there is versions of JavaScript or ECMAScript, which is a new version, which there is also like ECMAScript version 8 and 9, but the version which is changed the old JavaScript the most, it's ECMAScript 6, which was introduced in 2015. New features was added to it, like as I said, let keyword, const keyword, arrow functions, and many others, which we will discuss later. But let's talk about arrow functions. Arrow functions, you see here is ECMAScript 5, and the new syntax is this like crazy syntax. Where is the function keyword? I don't see the function keyword. Maybe you are wondering like this, but you see this arrow, it is the main point of arrow functions. That's why it's called arrow. In arrow functions, it is created like this: square equals, and here we pass our parameter, and arrow and square with brackets, and let's return it. The interesting is that in arrow functions you don't have to write return keyword. It will return it automatically. Let's check it. Square x. Yes. I'm getting an error. Oh, it was typo here. That is not square. Here we go. I am getting another error. X is not a silly mistake. Sorry guys. I'm making this mistake too often. Undefined. I guess we have to write this return. Where am I getting this? Or am I doing something wrong? What the hell happened? What the hell? hell happened? I'm running the same file, but I'm getting an error. Let's x arrow function return x and console log x console log 5 square 5. Yes, here we go. If you give me error, I don't know what I will have. It's giving me error. I don't know what's going on. Let's check it out. What the hell is? What the hell is going on? Let's see. Sorry guys, I'm a little confused. That's why people call JavaScript this crazy language which is making you stressed. It's working, but I don't know why it's not working for math power, for our square function. Ah, I understood. I made very silly mistake. When you are when you want to find square, you don't you don't have to write. I'm like making fifths 5 power to 5 power of 5, but I had to write like this. Oh my god, that's why I was getting like this crazy output. Yes, it is. Here is our return function. Let's see it. Yes. Like if you're like doing like this, you don't have to write return. Let's check it out. Yes, here we go. And you also, if you're defining like just one parameter, you don't have to write these brackets. Yes, let's see. Yes. If you're using arrow functions like this, you don't have to write return. Here is our arrow functions. We discussed it a lot. Yes. For now, let's finish our tutorial, but it's not. But there will be a second part. We will meet then. See you then.